We are 1 day away from Season 1 of Battlefield 6. It only feels like a few days ago that this game actually launched. We're going to get the introduction of new weapons, new maps, and more importantly, the free-to-play Battle Royale, codenamed RECOIL. Now, this video is going to be all about which guns you need to use when we're getting into the Battle Royale. Now, when it comes to Battle Royale long-range weapons, you need to focus on a couple of things: time to kill, and more importantly, recoil control. Now, we're not going to focus too much on time to kill in this video, as we've made a ton of time to kill videos already on the channel for Battlefield 6 for the current weapons that are in the game, but we're going to be going over which one are the lowest recoil guns, the top 5 to be exact, that you should be taking in to RECOIL. First up, we've got the AK-205. I'm going to go through the build and then I want to discuss the weapon with you when we get into the firing range. So first of all, we have this at level 19. It doesn't take too long at all to get some decent attachments for this gun. And to be honest, you don't really need a lot to make this gun actually work for you at range. So we do have the brake, the compensated brake, but you can use the double port brake. Both are good options, to be honest with you. You can even go suppressed on this gun if you really want to as well. It will con some of your accuracy. I prefer not to be suppressed. Then we have the heavy barrel. This is the best option. None of the barrels help with bullet velocity, so this one is the best option realistically. Then when it comes to the underbarrel grip, we do have the 6H64 grip. The ribbed vertical is also a good choice too, so both are great options. It just depends on which one you have unlocked at the time. And then when it comes to mags, I do recommend going for extended mags, especially in the Battle Royale, and we'll get through this in each single weapon as well. But because there's going to be armor plates in RECOIL, then we will need extra bullets to break through the armor. So either a 36 round or maybe even a 40 round will be the one we're looking to go for. We don't want to con the movement too much of this gun, so that is something to keep an eye out. So maybe 36 or 40 will be the best options. Standard rounds, I don't really like anything but hollow point, and that's maybe on a DMR or a sniper, so I wouldn't really recommend anything there. Mag catch for a slightly faster reload. If you want to kind of use this extra points up on a bigger mag, then you can do that as well. That's kind of personal preference there. Optic, I like the ROM. I've got this on most of my guns now. I just think it looks the cleanest. I do think the 4x scope looks really clean as well, and also the 3x scope looks pretty clean too. So it just depends on what optic is your preference, but I like the ROM. I just think it looks the nicest. Then we've got the laser, which helps with hipfire accuracy. It is useful because you only have a pistol as your secondary, and this gun is quite versatile that way. But again, if you want to use this points up elsewhere, then you can obviously do that once more. That is how accurate this gun is, and as you can see, there's barely any bloom as well. So hitting shots at range with this gun is super easy. You can kind of compensate for some of the recoil as well. And the other thing as well is that it is a pea shooter, so each bullet doesn't do much damage. So just keep that in mind when you are coming up against other weapons. Even though it's like the most accurate gun, fully automatic in the entire game, in my opinion, there is going to be guns that beat it out in terms of damage. We've got another carbine up next, and depending on how the loadout system goes for RECOIL, whether or not the classes are locked for each loadout, we don't really know. So we've got the carbines in here, and the carbines are going to be our assault rifle replacements exactly if the loadout system ends up being locked. But the QBZ is a more well-rounded option. You will actually get some kills with this because it does deal a decent amount of damage. So when it comes to the muzzle, we only have 3 options here, which is a bit unfortunate, but the converter is definitely the best option here. It depends on whether you want precision or control. Precision is to do with bloom, control is to do with the recoil itself. Bloom you cannot manage, recoil you can, so that's why I always go with the compensators. Then when it comes to the barrel, you want to go for the extended. I don't have it unlocked just yet, but it only boosts your bullet velocity, so I mean, it's always a no-brainer there, especially for long-range engagements. And 805 meters per second bullet velocity is actually pretty respectable for any weapon in this game. Then when it comes to the underbarrel grips, we've got quite a lot of options here, but the 6H64 will be one of the better options. We've also got the classic vertical, would also be a really good option too. And then we've got the ribbed vertical, just depends on what stage of the weapon you have it leveled at. Then when it comes to the magazines, once again, it depends on what we have. So you do want to go for either 36 or 40. Both are going to be really good, especially for the Battle Royale. Ergonomics, there's nothing useful here, to be honest. You're going to get the single fire I don't really recommend this on a full auto weapon. You want to be firing full auto, that's kind of the whole point, or at least burst firing. When it comes to optics, I'm using the ROM once again, but again, you can use the 4x, 3x personal preference with that one. And when it comes to the lasers, again, all the lasers do is help with mobility and hip fire accuracy. Because there's not really many muzzles, I recommend maybe going for something slightly higher up the list, like a 50 milliwatt blue, which helps with mobility as well. So you can definitely go down that route with the lasers. But in the firing range, this gun is super accurate as well. Not quite as accurate as the 205, but as you can see, the recoil is pretty much straight vertical. It does have a bit of bloom, but if you tap fire this gun, as you can see, super accurate. Like the bullets are going straight where we want it to go, and that doesn't always happen even if you're tap firing. So as you can see here, way more damage, and it's definitely better than the M4. People are using the M4 thinking it's one of the better guns, but the QBZ definitely hits way better at range, and you're going to be landing way more shots at range with this gun. You can full auto at mid-range, as you can see here, and definitely get some easy kills. Next up, we've got the LMR-27, and this is a marksman rifle, so a DMR inside Battlefield 6. Now, I love this gun. I think this is one of the most fun guns to use in the entire game. It's just unfortunate I haven't max leveled this because I'm trying to unlock some other weapons and do all those challenges, but this gun will definitely be my main gun in the Battle Royale because there's just so much good stuff going for it. The fire rate's insane, and if you want to see the TTKs for all the DMRs, then I've already got a video on the channel for that. But for the build, we're using the brake right now. Once I unlock some of the better attachments, then I will be applying those, for example, like the compensated brake, but I won't be going suppressed, I know that much. Then when it comes to the barrel, again, you want to go for the one that gives you the extra bullet velocity, so that will be the extended barrel in this case, which gives you 1100 bullet velocity. Now, competing with snipers, super easy with this kind of bullet velocity number, and just in general, it's going to feel like your shots are connecting a lot better. When it comes to the underbarrel grip, again, I've got the ribbed vertical at the moment, but I will be going for the 6H64 once I do get that unlocked because it helps tons with the recoil control and precision. Now, you don't really need much precision control with this gun because it doesn't have a lot of bloom, and how kind of you tap fire depends on how much bloom you get. So if you're spam firing, you get more bloom. If you're not spam firing, you'll get less bloom. So that's how this gun actually works and why I like it so much. So it really depends on how you're going to be using it, and usually when you're spamming the gun super quick, you're going to be at close range, and then it doesn't really matter that you're getting a bit extra bloom there. So like I said, I will be going for the 6H64 vertical to help with the vertical recoil. Then we do have the 10 round mag, but I do recommend going for something like the 15 round mag because that's the only one issue with this gun, and obviously that's how they balanced it. Is that the mags are pretty small because the gun outputs some insane amounts of damage potential. So like I said, I would recommend 15 or maybe 20. It depends on how the game feels when we get into the Battle Royale. Mag catch is just there because I have some of the attachment points to use. I will remove this for a bigger mag. And then when it comes to optics, I am using a slightly longer range one here, but you can still go for the ROM. You can go maybe 2.5x. It's really personal preference with this, but for this gun, it definitely beams at range. So getting into the firing range with this gun, it's super easy to use. If you tap slowly, you're going to get easy kills. As you can see, there's no bloom whatsoever. So as you can see here, we'll wait for the dummy to come back. Hitting shots, super easy. And like I said, with that extra bullet velocity is going to be much better as well. But if you want to spam fire this gun super quick, you're beating most assault rifles in terms of time to kill. And I've actually stated this in my time to kill video. This gun kills super quick, especially if you compare it to assault rifles. And that is why I wanted to put it on this list, because it can be across every class, and also it's super easy to use. The recenter time on it is really quick as well. So it's not like if you keep tap firing that you're going to go way off target. You actually stay on target pretty easily as well. So overall, I think this is just a really solid gun, and it's not like a traditional DMR, like you want to use it at super long range and kind of use it like a sniper, but you can use this like an AR and still do really well. Next up, we've got the SCAR, and as you can see, it's called the SOR 556 Mark II, but we're going to call it the SCAR because that's what it is. When it comes to the gun itself, I actually think this gun beams super easily at range. It's actually a really easy gun to use, and that's what's quite cool about it. I was going to put the B36 on here because I know that's quite popular amongst a lot of players, But I actually think this gun's just a lot easier to use. If you do want an easier to use gun, then the Scar's the better option, and it's a really fun gun to use nonetheless. We do have the single port brake. You can go linear compensator. Both actually work really well on this gun. I don't know why, but it just does. I probably will go for one of the larger brakes once I do unlock them, but they don't seem to really help much more than the one that we have anyway. We do have the extended barrel, which helps with bullet velocity, gets 1000 meters per second bullet velocity, which is ideal. Then we have the vertical grip, the 6H64, and that is a solid choice. Again, some of the other vertical grips are really good too once we get to that level. We have used our attachment points on a slightly larger mag, especially for RedSec. This is going to be very useful, and not only to mention, you actually unlock it pretty quickly as well, which is very handy. Ergonomics, we're not really too fussed about any of this stuff. I don't really think is going to matter too much. When it comes to the optic, I do only have the 4X. You can use any of these other optics as well if you want, but the 4X actually works really good for this gun until I unlock the ROM, as usual, to be honest. And then we do have a laser on here as well, which I might remove if we get slightly better attachments elsewhere and they bump up the kind of control of the weapon. Taking this gun into the firing range, all you kind of need to do is pull down on your stick a little bit, and as you can see, if you're firing the first couple of bullets, for the most part, it shoots incredibly straight. The longer you fire, it does kind of spread more. So after the first 5 or 6 bullets, you kind of want to stop firing and then start firing again and just kind of fire it like that. That works incredibly well for the Scar. So instead of doing fast burst, try and do kind of slightly longer bursts of maybe like 4 or 5 bullets, and then you're going to get the insane time to kill. So something like this would work extremely well with this gun, but as you can see, it does insane amounts of damage. By the time you get to maybe like your second burst, the enemy's dead probably anyway. And overall, it's really not that hard to control whatsoever. Even at like medium range, as you can see here, you're hitting almost every single shot. At super close range, this gun melts, by the way, like it melts. I'm going to show you on this dummy, but it actually just destroys people. If you land any resemblance of a headshot, then you will be killing enemies super quick as well. But like I said, super easy to use, which is the main thing. Last but not least, we've got that most accurate and hard-hitting weapon in the entire game. And the challenge for this is super annoying, by the way, to get it unlocked. But once you do, the KTS is one of the best guns in the entire game. And this is probably going to dominate RedSec, in my opinion. And if the support class is locked, trust me, people are going to be using the support class a lot just to get a hold of this gun. Now, this is basically like the base build for this weapon, but even with the base build, this gun absolutely melts. And we'll show you that in just a moment. So when we have the muzzle attachment, we've got the standard brake there. You can use the flash hider as well, but this one helps the most. When it comes to the barrel, we do have the second barrel, which gives you extra bullet velocity. As always, we always want to extend bullet velocity with these weapons. We are using the grip pod at the moment, which does help with precision and control. And this is the starting attachment for this gun, so you don't even need to unlock it. You've got 16 round mags already. You don't need anything smaller or bigger than this, I'll be honest with you. Standard rounds, once again, I don't really need anything higher than that. Ergonomics, we don't really need this for semi-auto fire. And then when it comes to optic, I've got my ROM, the trusty ROM on here. And when it comes to the laser, we do have the 5mm laser. Now, you can go for something slightly higher, like the 50mm blue for better mobility, which I will be doing once I unlock it, because for an LMG, you do want to bring up that mobility as much as you can. Now, just like the AK-205, this gun just shoots so straight, man, and it has literally no bloom whatsoever. Now, these are the kind of guns that people love using, so this and the AK-205 is probably going to be really, really good picks. This one's a little bit more difficult to unlock, and as you can see, it does incredible amounts of damage at range. But like I said, man, this gun is just insane. You have to unlock this. This is going to be used a ton in that battle royale. Mark my words. To round this video off, the Battlefield developers have came out and said that they will be nerfing the bloom on SMGs. People are using SMGs right now as long-range weapons, and if you didn't know that, then you're probably living under a rock, because these guns are super accurate. Now, they might not have insane amounts of time to kills out to range, which some of them do, by the way, which I have already went over in previous videos, but for the most part, these guns are stupidly accurate right now, and hopefully they do get nerfed and allow the actual weapons that should be in that category to take their place, and then the SMGs can be used at super close range and do what they do best, of course. So that is this video. If you enjoyed it and you're going to take these weapons into the new Battle Royale, then don't forget to leave a like, and thank you very much for watching.